that was a big slog. That was a big effort, and we've marked how brilliant that ride was. But it took some doing to really measure that to the line. And I think that's in part been underestimated perhaps about today's course.
That final crest, I mean, it is hellish. The grind to get over the line. The only respite you get appears to be in the last 50 metres. She practically fell over the line there.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, it was really interesting to see again predictions on how much the riders would be able to hold position, and she was certainly out of that, wasn't she, to just make sure that she could just maintain as much smooth power as possible across that cobbled sections. Here's Marta Giesens here, and we talked about a discrepancy happening through the field today. Look how smooth she is in the TT position.
Isn't this an absolutely beautiful building? It's actually based on a beehive, and it's just absolutely spectacular. It fits the landscape perfectly. Whoever was the architect, then we take our hats off to you. That is amazing. Yao Zhang has set the benchmark at the first split, by the way. And it is a strong one through that first timing point, 34 seconds better than the field. She has 1 minute and 12 over Nerere, who has already finished. So, yeah, we are starting to see some big trims of, indeed, times throughout there. And Yao Zhang, who looked very purposeful, I think we described her for the first couple of corners that the Chinese athlete took. She was fully dialed in, quite clearly.
Yeah, completely. And you can start to see the people that have had the support around them to put in the work it takes to be in this position. And I think it's one thing doing some amount of testing, getting your position dialed, but actually being able to secure the best time possible in this duration of a time trial. You have got to find that balance, haven't you? You know, you can't be in a super extreme position that ends up being detrimental and that you can't get the full power out. So as we go up the field here, you're starting to see riders that are so familiar with doing TT drills, with being in that testing position, and they've got it honed, and it's so evident. And you could see there with Marta Giesens just how well drilled she is.
It's going to be interesting, that final test, actually, and how much it starts to impact. I think there'll be a few riders that will be thinking about climbing off just at the very last. You can't do it. It's the last bit. You have to get there. There is a bit of a roller coaster. You come off up over the cobble section. You actually go into a little dish and indeed finish on an uphill lip before that very, very, very late little bit of respite. Here's Daniel Campbell from Trinidad and Tobago. They produced some spectacular track riders in the past of Trinidad and Tobago, and I always love watching them.
I love Tennille Campbell. She is an absolute joy to interview, a joy for our sport. Here she is now, taking to that start ramp, and she will be so focused today. She is another rider that has not only impressed as an individual, but it's transcended that. She has done so much for the cycling community in Trinidad and Tobago, coming into the World Tour, representing, having so many injuries, setbacks, bad luck, missing out on big targets, and she's always just had her heart on her sleeve and said what it means to just represent at this level. And I love her. I think she's brilliant. What a role model.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, why not? If the World Championships can come here to Africa, and we've seen, of course, Asia starting to rise as a powerhouse, and, you know, why not the West Indies? That would be fantastic. Can you imagine Trinidad and Tobago? I'm putting the bid in right now.
Here she is, Anna van der Breggen. I am very excited, as you can tell by the buzz in my voice. I cannot wait to see her out there today. We know how well she can time trial. But for me, this season has just delighted in terms of cycling fans getting treated to so many new narratives. When I saw... I don't think it was even speculation. I think there was a sudden announcement. Anna is coming back to the World Tour peloton, having been a DS. And I was like, hang on, please tell me this is true. Because it was so exciting to have the news that she was going to come back in, and the level she's come back in at, having been away from professional racing, is just so staggering. And this is her discipline.
Yep,
so I'm excited. And
former world champion, of course.
Back with Soraya Paladin for now. I'll park my excitement about Anna for a moment, but we'll get to that. But Soraya Paladin crashed out of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift with a broken collarbone, and then she's back to this peak performance today. So it's really worth noting where she's had to come from in preparation. But here's Anna van der Breggen.
Well, we've seen her on the track, we've seen her on the road. We have seen her just about everywhere. Twice a world road race champion, let's remind ourselves. And when you look at the roster, she won Flanders, she won Strade Bianche, Amstel Gold Race. I mean, it's actually easier to say things that she hasn't won. Well, she's won our hearts as well. 35 years of age now. She has moved around the world of cycling, let's put it that way, but she has come back to, well, a moment right now which could prove for this veteran, she's 35 years of age now, something amazing. Let's see how she goes, shall we?
I'm really, really excited to see how she goes today. It's
almost in a sense that she's got nothing to prove, and because of that, I think she'll do something spectacular.
Yeah, and if you just watch exactly that, if you just watch her level of expertise, she is textbook when it comes to riding a time trial. We've seen her win so big in Grand Tours, stage races, where she's been able to solo to victory. And she's one of those riders where you think, okay, maybe she's forcing a break here. Okay, no, she's gone solo. Oh, she's gone very early. Okay, she's still solo like 50 kilometres later. She is a rider that can do this and can deliver solo. And so she's immensely exciting to watch in her technicality, the years of experience she brings today.
Well, 5 medals in the time trial, let's not forget, for Van der Breggen, but also the title. That was in Imola in 2020. So, you know, I think a couple of times she's been national champion as well in the discipline. So why not today? Can you imagine the story? What a story would that be?
She's won it all. And
if she medals again, that would just be...
Yeah, and
amazing.
the story will be spectacular because of, as I say, the narrative coming into this season with people saying, well, let's just watch what she is capable of doing, because we all know that not having the race days in your legs, it impacts even the best riders in the world. Of course it does. She was a director sportive very successfully for Team SD Works Pro Time for a number of years before deciding to come back to racing. You've got to assume a big part of that was knowing that the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift is now on the calendar. It's now possible to field that for the women's peloton, which has been another huge, huge pivotal moment for our sport, a big talking point. But she is back, and she's not just back, she is back at the very top end, so that'll be immensely exciting. But here we go, another big name today.
Niewiadoma off the ramp for Poland, a nation that always punches above its weight, be that on the track and particularly when it matters. You get to pivotal moments, be that, as I say, something like the Olympics or indeed these World Championships, and Poland always seem to be able to punch above expectations. Niewiadoma, though, is somebody we expect a lot from. And I guess in a mixed course, she might be able to surprise even more. We talk about time trialists, pure time trialists, and you talk about those who are more adaptable, perhaps. I think that's why Van der Breggen, we're expecting a lot from her as we just ride here with Soraya Paladin, who is absolutely eating up the opposition out there. She is finding riders left, right and centre. She is dominating the time checks at the moment. She's the fastest by a margin of 48 seconds at the second split. Zheng coming through here as well. So we are starting to see some spectacular performances throughout the entire run, and Paladin leading and comfortable. What about Van der Breggen? Classical time trialling. She has a little bit of lateral movement, but it's where she feels comfortable. And sometimes finding that comfort on a bike is more important than aero purity. I've seen a lot of riders actually go into tunnels, and they've been put into the perfect position.
Yeah.
And because they're uncomfortable, they actually generate less power and are less effective, bizarrely. You have to find some comfort.
Completely. And I think a really prime example of that is when we saw the peak of the battle between Anna van der Breggen and Annemiek van Vleuten.